Surface Solutions, and I've been a Civil 3D instructor for 5 years since the inception of Civil 3D, and been around AutoCAD since version 2. Now today's lesson, of course, is on manipulating surfaces, so we're going to get right into it. You can see down here in this particular corner there's a minor problem. Now everybody who can read or knows about contours knows that there's a high point right here, and we need to fix that. There's a lot of other instances where there might be manipulation necessary, such as these contours here, where they kind of jag irregularly. We pretty much know that a contour doesn't do that unless there's a walkway or something up there. It could be. So let's get right into a few tricks that we have going on here. First things first, I'm going to manipulate my surface properties here, and I'm going to change to contours and triangles. And then, as we all know, we should never edit those selections that are already in our drawings. We should copy them first before we make changes. I'm simply making a new style called Contours and Triangles Editing. And then I'm going to jump over to the display, and I'm changing the Topo major and minor colors, not the layers, but just the colors on this particular style, to yellow. And now the reason I'm going to do that will be apparent here in a moment. And now you can see that I can see not only the contours, but the triangles as well. Now that makes it really nice for manipulating things, such as when I delete this particular point from use in the creation or the definition of the surface, then you'll see what happens. So let's get right into that one. If I click on that point, right click and go to point group properties, I can see that it is in the Topo point group. Okay, so we're going to edit the Topo point group right here. Right click and go to properties. And I'm basically going to exclude that point by selecting this button here, which says selection set in drawing. Then I click on the point number, hit enter, and hit OK. And you can see immediately that the point has been removed, and you can tell that by the fact that there's a yellow, almost like a home base looking information tab there. I must now right click and go to rebuild. And when I do that, you can see the contours are gone. The triangulation now is a little bit different than it was before, and there you have it. That's the first and simplest way of manipulating contours or a surface. Now, the second thing I want to do is point out that I usually don't have this set, but rebuild automatic in this particular case is very important. Okay, very important. Watch this. We're going to jump up here for a moment and say, well, you know, I don't really think that these contours should go this way. All right. I mean, there's some pretty heavy-duty jags, and here's one down here that's just crazy. Okay, so we'll get in here and look at now the fact that you can, in fact, flip faces by right-clicking on the edit buttons, and we're going to swap edge. This used to be called flip face back in the LAN desktop days. Now, if I flip this face right here, it's going to try to go, instead of from these 2 points, making 2 separate triangles in this area and this area, it's going to then jump across here, and thereby, let's say, eliminating that break line. So when I do that, you can see that now the contour is much smoother and most likely in a better location of where it should be. Now, you do have to know something about your terrain, of course, and I don't recommend that just anybody does things like this. I believe that you should really have a surveyor know what's out there. See, again, I can do that particular break line and smooth out that contour substantially. So, and you know, there's lots of these. Here's one here that I can fix, and then I've got a couple in here that I would need to change. Oops, then you get ones that can't be changed, like that one. That's okay. There we go. Alright, so we got a couple of them there. Oops, that one can't be changed either. But you get the idea. I can flip these things back and forth to see where exactly I want these contours to go. And in some cases it can be a little bit difficult, and then you have to delete the edges. But the concept here, of course, is rather simple, that we can flip any face that we need to try to make the contours go a little bit better according to what we've seen before. Okay. You should be, again, as I said, quite aware of what goes on in your, yep, some of those can't be changed. What goes on in your surface before attempting those things. All right, so now we've got a few of those fixed. Let's take a look at some of the outcome, what we've got here. If I right-click on that surface and go to Object Viewer, that's never a good idea unless you save the drawing first, of course, but that's okay. Let's go up here and see what this is going to do now. So you can see it. It looks quite nice. I mean, we have some realistic looking things going on. There might be a little bit of a high point right about here that we could get rid of. I don't know. That would be right in this area. Okay, but overall it looks pretty good. We know there's a roadway down here, so let's look at that on the edge. And that's not bad. Okay, we've got a little bit of a slight, I don't know if it's a problem or not, but we'll have to check. And it looks like there might be a brake line missing right in here. So let's go back and look at some of the ways that we can fix those types of things. Here's the areas we're talking about. Of course, here's a line right here that shouldn't be there. I mean, that's just not right. The contour should not jump that far out into the roadway. We pretty much know that. This should be kind of like a curb and gutter or an edge of pavement or something right through this direction. So let's look at that and then discuss these brake lines here for a moment. We can add brake lines, which basically will stop the contours from crossing, not the contours, but the triangles. We're going to call it brake lines 1, just because that's easy. And I'm going to pick this brown line here that basically we know is by definition, and only by looking at it before, as a brake line as the edge of pavement. So I've got a couple of them selected. There's one there. There's one here that goes all the way down. And there's another one here. So I might as well get all of them while we're at it. There's a few of them. Alright, so let's jump back over here to where our problem was. Now when I've got those selected and I hit enter, you can see that that fixed the problem for me. I didn't have to go in there and rather manually change or swap edges on this. Okay, so that will take care of quite a few problems as well. So if you have brake lines put in there where you know there's a ridge or a low point, a valley of a ditch, a flow line of a gutter, top of curb, etc., that will go a long way to creating or rather fixing your contours where they should be. Okay, and so with that, that's pretty much the end of this particular demonstration. For more information, you can visit our website at www.youngsvos.com.